Picture this. You are standing in a suffocating, overcrowded room. Or maybe you're about to speak in front of a wall of cold, unblinking strangers. Suddenly, every single pair of eyes locks onto you. Your heart violently spikes. Your breathing turns shallow, tight, desperate. The words you had perfectly rehearsed 2 seconds ago crumble into dust at the back of your throat. We usually write this off with a comfortable label. We tell ourselves we're just introverted or a bit shy. But the biological reality is far more sinister. What you are experiencing in that exact second is not a polite flaw of your character. It is an extreme biological hijack. To your ancestral brain, you are not in an office, an auditorium, or a party. You are a helpless prey, pinned dead center in the hunter's crosshairs. To understand this short circuit, we have to descend millions of years back into our evolutionary past. In a harsh, primordial world, prolonged eye contact meant only 2 things: a violent territorial war or a predator picking out its dinner. This is why we evolved the gaze detection network. Consider this your cognitive glucose pause. To map the full biological war inside your mind, subscribe and join the Nexus. In deeply shy individuals, this system suffers a hostile takeover. When you feel someone's gaze, the threat signal takes a primitive subcortical shortcut, bypassing the slower analytical checks of your visual cortex. It strikes straight into the amygdala, the brain's alarm system. And the amygdala fires in under 100 milliseconds, a fraction of a second, long before your conscious mind even realizes what's happening. Your conscious control is stripped away in an instant, handed directly to the sympathetic nervous system. The survival switch is flipped. Adrenaline and cortisol flood your bloodstream. Your peripheral blood vessels constrict. Your hands turn freezing cold. Your digestion shuts down completely. Your body is literally preparing for a biological war. If you want to observe this mechanism in its purest form, completely free from social constructs, look at a young child. We have all seen a toddler hide in terror behind their parents' legs when a stranger approaches. In that moment, the child isn't hiding because they fear being judged. At 2 or 3 years old, the theory of mind hasn't even developed enough to formulate a single thought about what others think. Something far more visceral is happening beneath the skin. Between 6 and 12 months of life, an evolutionary module called stranger wariness activates in the human brain. To an infant, the parent is the absolute metabolic guarantee of survival. A stranger is a total statistical unknown, a potential predator. The parent's legs aren't just plastic shields. They are a secure base for neurological co-regulation. The child literally uses the adult's calm nervous system to extinguish the fire raging in their own amygdala. As we grow, most people develop their prefrontal cortex and learn that strangers won't eat them alive. But for others, it doesn't work that way. In developmental psychology, this trait is called behavioral inhibition, a severe, permanent hyperreactivity of the amygdala to anything new. Deeply inhibited children don't lose that primitive reflex. They simply switch the legs they hide behind. Over the years, those legs turn into the glow of a smartphone screen, the dark corner of a crowded room, or an obstinate, defensive silence. Adult shyness is nothing more than that primordial child trapped behind those safe legs for the rest of their lives. Yet, the way we interpret this primordial reflex has radically shifted over time. We executed a massive cultural inversion, morphing an ancient virtue into a flaw to be erased. In ancient Greece and Rome, shyness wasn't seen as weakness. It was the highest mark of a noble soul. The Greeks revered eidos, the goddess of modesty, respect, and restraint. The Romans called it verecundia. Social hesitation was once the moral glue of civilization. If you lacked shyness, you were viewed with deep suspicion, a ruthless barbarian devoid of moral breaks. By the Renaissance, Galenic medicine classified it under melancholy, tied to the dominance of black bile. Physician Robert Burton described the shy as individuals cursed with an overly vivid imagination, capable of profound analysis, but haunted by an amplified perception of the world danger. Then came the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution, and modern psychiatry. Humanity was violently ripped from small agricultural villages and shoved into towering, suffocating metropolises. Clinicians began dissecting this human trait with ruthless terminology: anthropophobia, the pathological fear of people, and erythrophobia, the terrifying dread of blushing in public. Then came 1980. The publication of the DSM-3 drew a permanent line in the sand. Shyness was cataloged, coded, and officially pathologized under the stamp of social anxiety disorder. In a matter of decades, a millennia-old mechanism of moral caution was redefined as a chemical deficit requiring a fix, spawning a multi-billion-dollar global market of pharmaceuticals, public speaking courses, and behavioral re-education. If we descend deeper into the microscopic fabric of the brain, we discover that shyness is a completely out-of-tune chemical symphony. It is not a lack of courage. It is molecules missing their target or firing too hard. Look at the battle between GABA and glutamate. GABA is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter, the emergency brake telling neurons to slow down. Glutamate is the accelerator. In shy individuals, the GABAergic system suffers a chronic underperformance. Simply put, the brakes fail. Glutamate sets the neural circuits on fire, and the brain lacks the GABA to extinguish it. Add to this the complex dynamics of serotonin receptors, specifically the 5-HT1A receptors in the amygdala. When these receptors are hyposensitive or downregulated, the amygdala loses its internal modulation. It turns hyperreactive, interpreting completely neutral social cues as imminent catastrophic threats. Meanwhile, there is a dopaminergic desert in the striatum. Lower availability of D2 receptors means the brain anticipates zero pleasure from human interaction. It sees no reward, only raw risk. Simultaneously, the HPA axis floods the body with cortisol, crippling the synaptic plasticity of your hippocampus, and leaving hyperactive threat circuits to cement painful social memories into indelible traps. When this trap springs, your perception of time and space distorts completely. The first deception is social tachypsychia. Under high cortisol and amygdala overload, your brain enters hyper-vigilance, logging a massive density of micro-details per second. Subjectively, time expands. 2 seconds of silence before answering a question feel like a claustrophobic eternity. If the threat becomes intolerable, and your brain realizes you cannot fight and cannot flee, your nervous system triggers a drastic evolutionary downgrade. Polyvagal theory calls this the dorsal vagal activation. This is the oldest defense mechanism in existence, inherited directly from ancient reptiles. We are no longer talking about simple anxiety. This is dissociation, that eerie, suffocating feeling of floating outside your own body, watching yourself from the corner of the room, emotional numbness, your voice fading to a whisper, the ancestral metabolic collapse, where your organism plays dead in front of the predator, and the true tragedy doesn't even happen during the event. It happens after. In the cemetery of memories, the default mode, network, the brain circuit for self-reflection goes wildly hyperactive. Safe at home, the post-event rumination begins, replaying the tape in an endless, self-sabotaging loop, rewriting history to confirm your own failure. But why? Why did nature preserve a system so painful, so limiting, and seemingly self-destructive? The answer lies in a single foundational scientific concept: evolutionary mismatch, the profound disconnect between our ancient biological code and the artificial world we built overnight. For over 300,000 years, human evolution was forged in the Pleistocene. Our brains were engineered to survive in small, nomadic tribes, never exceeding Dunbar's number of roughly 150 people. In that primordial world, everyone knew you from birth. Encountering a stranger was a rare, terrifying anomaly. In that ecosystem, hesitation, social retreat, and fear of group judgment were high-yield survival technologies. Being rejected or exiled by the tribe meant dying alone in the savannah in a matter of days. Shyness was never a defect. It was a flawless defense protocol, calibrated to keep you alive. But in the last 200 years, a mere blink on the evolutionary clock, we erected vertical metropolises, open space offices, and digital platforms. We shoved a brain built for the Pleistocene savannah into an environment flooded with thousands of strangers a day, expecting your ancestral nervous system to stay calm while 50 strangers stare at you is like forcing 80s computer software to run a modern graphics engine. It crashes. But here's the conceptual shift that subverts the entire modern narrative. While contemporary society looks at this obsolete machine and stamps it as broken, neuroscience and evolutionary biology prove the exact opposite. A highly sensitive system is not a damaged system. It is a higher resolution system. Think about what that hyper-vigilance actually means. When liberated from terror, while extroverts dominate the center stage, burning energy and monopolizing the room, the shy mind is doing something infinitely more complex. Studies on sensory processing sensitivity show heightened mirror neuron activation. You aren't just silent. You are processing reality at a depth others cannot even dream of. In ancient Pleistocene tribes, a community made purely of loud, impulsive dominance would have gone extinct in a single generation. You needed those who charged into the hunt, but you desperately needed those who stood still at the edge of the clearing, calculating the hidden risks before moving a single muscle. Shyness was the clan's life insurance policy. It is the ability to weigh words before uttering them, analytical listening instead of muscle flexing, the highest form of cognitive prudence and systemic empathy. It is not a lack of something. It is the abundance of a precision filter, holding back the noise and letting through only what is essential. Reclaiming the value of shyness doesn't mean denying real suffering. When your throat locks and terror freezes your body, the isolation is painfully real. But ask yourself the fundamental question: where does that pain truly originate? Is it from your biology or from the shame of being shy? Strip away the social stigma, and shyness stops being a paralysis. It returns to what it always was: depth. Today, we are hostages to the extrovert ideal, a cultural dogma born in the 20th century that replaced the character ethic with the personality ethic. It no longer matters who you are inside, how rigorous, loyal, or deep you are. It only matters how well you sell yourself, how much space you occupy, how magnetic you appear on demand. And the modern self-improvement industry, that toxic ocean of motivational gurus and corporate snake oil, committed the ultimate crime. It took a legitimate biological trait and rebranded it as a factory defect to sell you the cure. They preach to destroy your shyness, to dominate the room. It is a ruthless industrial lie. Treating shyness as a pathology to be cured robs the world of its best observers, its most careful thinkers, its deepest listeners, replacing them with another shallow copy of an aggressive salesman. The real issue was never shyness. The real issue is a society that no longer knows what to do with silence. Fear of being judged, down at the bedrock of your psyche, is nothing more than the echo of ancient social death. But today, you can finally shift the lens. The next time you stand in a crowded room and feel that knot tighten in your throat, the time dilating, your body freezing, do not punish yourself. Do not force yourself to play a character. Remember, there is absolutely nothing broken in you. You are simply witnessing a piece of ruthless, evolutionary history playing out inside your neural circuits. Your brain isn't betraying you. It is deploying an ancient, sophisticated armor to preserve your complexity in a world that rewards superficial noise. Your shyness is not a wall to tear down. It is a precision filter. Stop apologizing for your silence. Stop trying to repair what was never broken. In a culture obsessed with relentless performance, constant visibility, and screaming just to prove existence, your caution, your restraint, and your power to step back are not weaknesses. They are your greatest strength, and they are the last true form of resistance.